15 degrees, you can see your breath. Out here in the lake effect, breaking tables like it's poetry. Where else would you rather be? Pinto, Ron, Elvis, in the lay poncho. The members that you need to know. 'Cause once you out here, now your family. Where else would you rather be? Where else would you rather be?
Welcome into the Nickel City Crew. I am your host, Rob Crippen. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Nickel City Crew. This episode, along with all of our episodes, are presented by Crippen Legacy Entertainment here on Spreaker and StreamYard. We're so glad that you're joining us for some of your Buffalo Bills and NFL content again today. And as always, these are my Bills thoughts said out loud.
It's a vibe so ridiculous. Since 12 plus 83 was 6. The shout rocking like a symphony. Where else would you rather be?
All right, let's get straight to it. I'm excited about tonight's episode, as I always am. There has been a lot of times around this time of year, there's really not a lot going on, and you're kind of getting closer to the dog days of summer, as we always speak about. And man, I mean, Brandon Beane, the Buffalo Bills do not disappoint. They continue to give us a little bit of juice, a little bit of energy. So as always, tonight, my co-host joining me, Adam Dumptruck Rupsick at Adam Rupsick on Instagram. Holla at the crew, DT. What's good, man? We still got a few things to talk about tonight. What's good, DT? Holla. What's up?
Yeah. Who are we, Rob? Who are we thinking that we're gonna have trouble filling these weekly shows in the off season? It's, one week after another, they keep filling up, and we keep having stuff to talk about. I mean, let's be honest. If nothing happened this week, I think we could still fill a show. So the passion we got, for the Bills and Nickel City, but good to be back another week. We're rolling here. I don't know if you've probably seen on social media, a little weird. The wildfires up in Canada are dropping some. It loops like a Mad Max movie around town right now. So it's a little creepy, a little weird, and tough breathing out here up north. But we're getting there.
I have heard about it. I'm a avid WGR listener, and they've been talking about the Canadian wildfires. So obviously, we're hoping that everybody's okay up there, because they're talking about the schools and all the way down to New York City and Manhattan. They're canceling outside activities. They say that you can see some of this haze even as further as far south as where I am in North Carolina, in Raleigh, which is about a couple hours to the east of me. So, wow, man, I can't imagine what it's like, to be honest, because I haven't really noticed anything considerable down here in Charlotte. But I mean, the Yankees game looked like there was a haze over it. It's funny you said Mad Max. That it is. It's kind of like an orangish, yellowish tint to it, and at nighttime it gets accentuated, and it's like thick. I heard that you could, the other day they were saying that you could smell the smoke in certain parts of West New York, and I was like, smell the smoke?
Today,
like,
all day in Buffalo, Yeah, you could smell it smelled like a campfire out, So everyone's windows that were open, everyone's clothes going to smell like campfire now. So.
Oh man, I mean, again, we hope that everybody's okay up there, no deaths or anything like that. But yes, the Canadian wildfires have been. They say it's like twice as many as what they're used to at this time of year. So it's getting hot. Mother Nature is heating up. The summer is coming, if it's not already officially here. And we've had a bunch of news down at One Bills Drive to really fill our plates for this week. So I was really happy to have some things to talk about for sure, other than some ideas that we came up with, because of the fact that, again, Brandon Beane just continues to give us something to chew on, man. Before we get to that, happy birthday to our co-owner, Kim Pagula. These episodes are recorded on Wednesday, but it'll obviously air on Thursday. But on Wednesday, happy birthday to our co-owner. I know we haven't seen her in the public. She's been dealing with her health issues as well, but we wish her all the best here at Nickel City Crew. They never really disclosed what was going on with her, but it doesn't really matter. None of our business. We just hope that she's in good health, and happy birthday to the owner for sure. They broke ground on a new stadium, DT. We are going to have to either we're going to have to stay in the grass lots and we're just going to leave a little bit earlier or walk down because it's only technically across the street, or we're going to have to find a new tailgating spot, man. They are breaking ground on a new stadium, as we've already talked about. I know we covered that episode, and I was really excited about it because that hype video, DT, was class A, well done. Like, it gave me some of the chills, and the father's there with his Kelly jersey and the son's there with his Allen jersey, and they're giving each other's hugs. I know that it's a production. I know that they're supposed to tug on those strings, but boy, I mean, either way, they did a great job. That the highlights throughout, and then they've got intermittent pieces of showing the new stadium and like the concession stands and different ideas that they've got for the new stadium. DT, it was a really cool video, man. I thought it was well done. It definitely got my juices flowing. I showed it to my sons, like, you know what I mean, to my kings, like, I get this is where you guys are going to be rocking. You know what I mean? They're younger, obviously, so this is where they're going to be calling home. DT, what'd you think, man? They broke ground. Little golden shovels out there on Bills Drive.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say.
there.
That'd be a cool little piece of memorabilia to get your hands on, one of those
Yeah.
golden shovels. And I always think it's funny when on these things, because all the big important people roll through with the hard hats, and they're so awkward looking in the suits and the hard hats, and then they got
Governor
the little pile of
Hochul,
dirt. They give you the little shovel. It's it's funny and a little corny when it comes to that, but yeah, the video itself was cool. We broke down the stadium. I think it's going to be a cool place. Recently, they announced that Delaware North wasn't going to be having the concessions one, which was surprising. But nobody should feel bad for that company. It's a multi-billion-dollar company themselves. So yes, they didn't get their hometown gig, but they're doing okay. But
they're doing well.
Yeah. With the Legends group, with the Jerry Jones deal, that I think that's going to be a cool aspect. Is Jerry's World's obviously one of the biggest marvels in professional sports, and sort of give a little taste of the concessions and the concourses to give a little taste of that. That'll be a nice addition to that. But yeah, get it pumped up. It's a new generation, as I've said on the show before. I'm definitely jealous of these kids growing up, and they can go to school and wear their Josh Allen jerseys, and when it's game day, it's all them, as opposed to us. It was a little different, but this is going to be a new house for somebody, and new memories are going to be built. And you hear all the old timers like, "Oh, I was at the first game at the Ralph," or wherever it was,
or
and,
even at the Rock War Memorial.
The Rock Pile, exactly. They got the little chip showing they were there, and we're going to be those guys, Rob, being at the first game in the new stadium. So it's time. It's a new sequence. It'll be bittersweet, but I'm juiced up. That was a cool little thing. And finally, the ground broke. We talk about it, but finally they actually put the backhoe into the ground, and we're on to something. So it'll be fun this year going to other games and kind of seeing it rise up from the ground, if you will, over the next couple of years as we watch it come to life in real time.
Yeah, I mean, and rise up from the ground it will, because it's going to be a very tall stadium. Remember, Ralph Wilson Stadium is built into the ground. The dome is into the ground. That's why you get some of those different vantage points that look really cool, because we are literally looking down into the ground. The bowl of the stadium is way below ground level. This will not be the case. I mean, this stadium is going up. You're going to be seeing the transformation as you're driving by, the Ralph right now. You're going to be seeing a lot of different formations of the bones and the structure of the actual new Highmark Stadium, and it's going to be something to look at. I can't wait. Me personally, I can't wait for those Buffalo. I can't wait for that picture. I want one of those small.
They bringing those in on a helicopter or something.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to deliver those bad boys, but I know that I want one for Christmas. I want one of the smaller ones that you see around town. I want those for down here in Charlotte. I want one sitting right in front of my main front door, and I want it right in the yard, and it doesn't have to be big, but these, the Buffalo they're talking about at the stadium are going to be some of the biggest in the world. So I'm really excited for that. It gets a couple pictures, because that'll be a cool spectacle. So interesting, Brandon Beane, DT, as we transition a little bit, he continues to maneuver. He's sneaky, man. I mean, this guy is sneaky. He loves his trading up in the draft. He can never sit still. He told us about that before the draft, and then it came to fruition that he wasn't going to be able to sit still when he goes up and gets Dalton Kincaid and gets a guy that he needs, or he thinks that he needs at least. He moves with conviction, and I will give him that. Regardless of the fact, when it comes time for the end of his tenure, DT, you will be able to say that Brandon Beane believed in the things that he believed in, and he didn't shy away from them, and he went after it, right or wrong. You know what I mean? Big 91 at Oliver, a number 9 overall pick back in the draft a couple of years ago. He goes and gets the bag, DT, 4 years, $68 million, $45 million guaranteed. We'll go over some of the different structures, which kind of shows that the Bills have some outs after a few years. But What was your initial reaction? I'll tell you mine, DT. When I saw it come up with my feed, I said, "What?" I like Ed Oliver. I was excited when we got him. I had followed his career there down in Houston. Number 10 is my favorite number, so I like number 10. And I had saw that he was a number 10, and I heard that he, has got he's a cowboy. He's got a whole bunch of horses down there, and he's a good old cowboy. I think one of his horses' name is Oreo. And listen, I like his personality. I was more surprised when I saw it, DT. I said kind of like, what? Like, y'all gave him the bag? Not because I don't like him, but because I hadn't really seen the production that would call for this type of deal. Obviously, Brandon Beane knows something that we don't, or he was looking for a little bit of certainty in the defensive tackle room, because we know that obviously everybody's on a one-year deal this year. No defensive tackles on the Buffalo Bills roster were signed beyond 2023. DT, what did you think when you saw it, man? I know WGR has been kind of, slicing it up this week, and it's been interesting to watch. But I was a little bit surprised when it first came out. I will be honest. Some of the contract details have kind of softened my stance, but when it first came out, I was a little bit surprised that they actually invested in him.
Well, that's just it. I mean, you look at the production, and is $62 million worth that production? To be honest, in my eyes, it really hasn't been. But you said it, Rob. I mean, there's nobody else on this defensive line after next year, at least on contract, and everyone on those 1 year deals, in the interior D line is going to be older, right? So I think this was a game of a lot of cards here. You draft and develop, it's your guy. You took him first round. You believed him. And don't get me wrong, he's been good. He just hasn't been that, Dominican Sue, Warren Sapp-esque, which,
top 10 pick,
So, but, so draft and develop, you get a guy who, you probably know you're going to get a little depleted at the position next year. And instead of restarting completely, pay your first rounder. So I get it. And like you said, once the details of the contract kind of came out a little more, I settled down a little bit in the money standpoint of it. And, you got to pay guys to keep them here, and they just weren't going to have anybody after next year. So I think it was a little mix of, we'll take the gamble on you. You're a first round pick. You're not some Joe Schmo off the street. We'll take the gamble on you. And, we're going to have to fill this whole line next year. So at least let's take one step. I was kind of excited going in, thinking all these guys are going to have to play for, who are the Bills going to pay? Like you all are going to have to play to get paid, right? And so that would have brought out some good competition and whatnot. But I think there's good attitudes, good, veteran leadership on this line. And now Ed Oliver, hey, this comes every time. When I got my recent promotion, my boss said, this is coming with, it's happiness, but it's also coming with expectations. So I think that was definitely what was brought into, to this room. And Ed Oliver isn't just the new guy that can play anymore. He's looked at as the veteran and the leader on this team as well. So that's all expectation with this bag. And so I'm cool with it. But it was definitely surprising.
Yeah, it was surprising. It's funny because when you talk about the defensive tackle room, it's kind of like that, the Joker, movie from a while ago, The Dark Knight, where, the Joker literally snaps a pool stick in half and then he throws it to the henchman. He's like, listen, he's like, we've got a job promotion. He's like, but there's only one of you. And then he walks out of the room, and it was just implied as the camera leaves the room, like, man, like, so, hey, listen, you better fight for this thing. So I was definitely leaning towards letting him kind of play it out. They had signed him up for the 5th-year option at $10 million, but again, Brandon Beane has a bigger plan. He uses that money, supposedly so, to sign Leonard Floyd the next day. Buffalo signs Leonard Floyd. Listen, this is not a slouch. This is not just another run-of-the-mill defensive end or just another name or a guy that was drafted high back in his draft year. Leonard Floyd can play football. He is 10th in the league in sacks the last 3 years. He has 29 sacks the last 3 years, 9 in each year. No Buffalo Bills even had 9 sacks besides, I think it was like Jordan Phillips a couple years ago or something like that. Like, this guy gets to the quarterback. I watched some film on him on Buffalo Rumblings, some little clips, and he loves that wide 9, and he loves to use his bend and his athleticism to kind of get around the edge and surprise some of the tackles. Leonard Floyd can play, man. He's out in the field. He's tall. He's rangy. Like, he's got that length that kind of make you look twice, man. I'm down, man. Listen, as much as they've poured into the defensive end position with Epinesa, and then with, Boogie Basham, and with Rousseau, who's trying to come along and he looks okay. I want to see some type of return. The fact that they got another guy to go with him, whether it be just to kind of hold the fort down, whether it be until Von Miller gets back or not, I'm cool with it, DT, because of the fact that I want to get some type of return. I want to make quarterbacks nervous. I want to get more 3-and-outs. I want to get them off the field and get our quarterback, who we'll talk about to end the show, back on the field. I want more possessions. I want more offensive possessions. The defense will help get that done. And Leonard Floyd, man, he's not just a name, man. Like he's got production.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, you said it, Rob. The fact of he's not just a guy. Like, this dude is legit. We've tried to draft and develop route, and haven't seen the return that we'd like with, Epinesa and
No way.
And I mean, Rousseau's getting there, I think, but still not fully comfortable as you saw last year of a good defensive line. Von Miller goes out and they kind of go silent the rest of the year. So this does a couple things. This one brings in a great player, going to be opposite of Von, gets these younger guys another guy to learn from, another guy to compete with. And then, two, it eases the blow of not having to be desperate and rush Von Miller back. It helps kind of elongate that process. And if he needs another couple weeks and he's got to go to week 6 or 8,
right,
we got that standard film, that dominant pass rusher in Leonard Floyd. It's a huge pickup. Again, this is a name I see beginning of free agency. No shot. We get this guy, right? He's going to go big money, somewhere. Brandon Beane says he's not making any moves. There's no shot we're going to splash for a guy. And then,
right,
real quietly, Sunday, late Sunday night, here comes Leonard Floyd to the Bills. So, he's excited to be here. He's made decent money in the league, and now he can come, on that ring chase, if you will, as a lot of these veterans are trying to do. So, does a lot of things for this team, and the production from the draft standpoint, we weren't seeing it. So maybe this is kind of that what they're trying to fill in this void. But man, you go down the pass rusher list here, there's going to be some guys not getting a jersey.
You're damn right.
You're damn right. Jersey. I mean, let's go through it here. You got Von Miller, Leonard Floyd are probably lock-ins, and then Greg Rousseau.
Mm-hmm.
Then
you got Boogie
Basham,
Epinesa,
Boogie Basham, Shaq Lawson. That's gonna be, it's gonna be the same thing as that the Joker and the Henchman. There's gonna be one spot, but probably 3 decently known Bills names fighting for it. So it sets another standard to this team of what we're doing is not good enough, and just because we drafted you doesn't mean you're getting a spot on this team anymore, as it kind of met in the previous couple of years. So I think it sets a lot of tones. It sets a lot of temperature in that room, but I think it's only going to help bring that temperature up a little bit.
Yeah, no competition. Iron sharpens iron, so I'm never against it. I'm down with it. I want the guys to push each other, and Brandon Beane is certainly not afraid. Now, like you had kind of alluded to, sometimes it's a little bit, concerning that they've kind of sunken all these costs into the defensive end, hadn't seen the fruit from that tree, and now they're spending another asset. But again, Brandon Beane kind of, kills 2 birds with one stone. He signs a defensive tackle that they drafted, that they kind of groomed, create some cap space, and then they take that cap space and they sign somebody that they think can provide an immediate need. And I think that's where Leonard Floyd kind of comes in. He will provide an immediate need while the guys on the back end are still kind of fighting for their jobs, and Boogie Basham and AJ Epinesa are trying to show where they fit in with this group. I think that the top line, the top tier of the rotation is kind of set now, and they get a chance to kind of come into the season, like you said, regardless of if Von, I would love to be able to have Von back healthy, no setbacks, where we're not worried about a pitch count as much or anything like that. However much that we're going to give him, this daily dose, this weekly dose of snaps we can give him, and not worry about it too much, as opposed to bringing him back early and he's only playing 25% of the snaps, he's that type of thing, and then we're all kind of gingerly and on pins and needles. So I would rather see them just come back full force. So in the meantime, Leonard Floyd can handle it.
Exactly. Maybe it's a transition to a little bit of different philosophy from this Bills defense, as McDermott's going to be calling the plays now. Maybe it was all rotation, and there's going to be rotation. That's just inevitable in the NFL. You got to give guys rest, but maybe this is starting to get into a point where, all right, we're paying that Oliver. You're going to get almost every snap in the middle. We're paying, they're paying Leonard Floyd. We're paying Von Miller. Like, these dudes might not be rotational as much as in the previous years. Like, we got big money up front. These dudes are our playmakers. They're going to get majority of the snaps. So maybe that's kind of the way this team's moving in that direction as well. Of it's not just going to be everybody gets a turn anymore. It's you earned it. We're paying you like that. You're going to get majority. You're going to earn your money.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, we're going to break down offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey. We're going to break down new defensive coordinator, head coach Sean McDermott later in this offseason. So that'll definitely be something that for us to kind of chew on, because I know I've heard a lot of people talking about how McDermott might show a little bit more of his aggressive side back from his Carolina days and his Philadelphia days. So I've got something for that. So I'll tuck that away in my pocket, and I will remember that DT said that. Okay. DT thinks he'll be blitzing more. Okay. All right. Now, Cam Dantzler signed by the Buffalo Bills today.
Yeah.
Another depth cornerback, and it was interesting to see him because he's had a little bit of talent, for sure. 3rd round pick for Minnesota. He bounced around to Washington, I think, or something like that last year.
End of the year, yeah.
Yeah, he bounced around, didn't stay there. And then he's on the Bills. And then some people might say, well, why do the Bills need another cornerback? And listen, I think that they try to stack talent on top of talent. And that's really what I think it is. We do have Kaiir Elam, and he was drafted in the 1st round. And we do have Benford, who beat out Elam for a starting job last year. And then we've got, Cam Lewis, and we've got, all these other guys, and position flexibility, and maybe Benford moves to safety and all this other stuff. And DeMar Hamlin doesn't make the team and all yada, yada, yada. I just think that they like to have some type of depth in the backfield, defensive backfield, DT. And I think that that's really what it comes down to, where it might be a situation where McDermott just says, hey, man, get as many good players as you can for me back there, and I'll let the cream rise to the crop as we get into training camp. Cam Dantzler, Buffalo Bills, signed today. The wheeling and dealing for Brandon Beane not done. I mean, more depth. I'm never mad at a premium position for depth, just because guys get hurt, DT, guys get banged up, and you just never know what the situation is going to be like for the team. I mean, it's crazy, man. It really is crazy.
Yeah, and I'm going to say this is much non-disrespect as possible. No disrespect when I say this. I feel like corners are like golf balls for me. Okay. You can never have enough. You can never have enough in your bag, because you're going to lose some, you're going to blow some right. You're going to blow some into the water. And then occasionally you pull one out of your bag, and that's the one that you play the rest of your round with. You're hitting it good. You're feeling nice with it. And that's, I feel like, what corners other than Trey White are going to be on this team for the remainder of the career of Trey White. It's going to be Trey White, and everybody underneath is just going to be who's hitting the ball best, what ball's going down the middle of the fairway, and there's going to be some that go into the woods, that go into the water, and then you just keep rotating. So I don't think you can ever have enough when it comes to cornerbacks. And this kid's got talent, Rob. A 3rd round pick, SEC boy, a big 6'2", 6'2" frame. I think he can come in and really compete for some snaps. It's not just some some camp jersey. This guy he was a starter in Minnesota. They never had an outstanding defense, but a starter in Minnesota coming in, pushes Kaiir Elam to take that next step. Trey White, if he doesn't come back to, full bore like everyone thinks he's going to, it's just another depth guy to put in there. So I think it's a great pickup. It brings good talent to the secondary. And like you said, there could be some other things up the sleeves, as changing positions and positionless football. Taron Johnson always comes down, plays a little closer to the box. Christian Benford might go to the safety role. Yeah. Who knows if DeMar Hamlin comes back at all, So it's
Elam,
lot of questions.
Beane said some weird shit about Elam today that WGR was parsing. That was like some weird comments about Elam and his practice habits, or whatever the case may be, or lack of them. So it'll be interesting. I just never, at a premium position like cornerback, defensive end, tackles, wide receivers, I just almost think that you can never have enough.
Yeah. And then you pull that one out of your bag, Rob, and it's good. It's good for you the rest of the golf round, and hopefully that's what Cam Dantzler is for us. So
I like that. He said golf balls. I like that. Listen, man, it was some hot, interesting news today on the Bills. It was much speculated. I know that this one touches a chord for me personally, because I have been a purchaser of the Madden franchise since, I go way back, man, to 2000, 1999.
2000
I've got all
those
guys.
One. Yep.
Really? Was it? Yeah, man. Madden is just kind of something where it's a part of the fabric of American football for kids. Like, I mean, when it comes to either playing the game outside itself, physically playing football, and then when you go inside, like it was just a situation where Madden was it. Like back then, when I was growing up, Madden was. I mean, it was everything. It was just a situation where everybody wanted to get on the sticks and everybody wanted to show everybody who was better and what level do you play on. If you don't play on all Madden, then you're not really playing and all this other stuff. And the games, and then online comes, and then that's a whole different feature of online. And now you've got Madden. I literally during the summertime, DT could turn on, maybe it's like ESPN2 or ESPN News, and they're playing a Madden tournament. You know, it might be dead of summer or something like that. Not a lot of major sports going on besides baseball, but you'll see a tournament where guys are there on their Xboxes, PlayStation, and they are going at it on Madden. And like Madden was such a big deal. Even the college football game for me and Ace was such a big deal growing up, man. Josh Allen will be gracing the cover of Madden 24. We've got at least 2 editions right now, the standard Madden 24 edition and the deluxe edition. I'm not sure if he's going to be on the all Madden version or if they're going to make one. That would mean a 3rd cover. But for now, I've seen 2 covers today. I put them on my Instagram for Nickel City Crew. I'm excited, man, because what it shows, really, to be honest, is just the meteoric rise of Josh Allen, our quarterback, and how he is. I mean, if all the TMZ reports and he's on the back of the New York Post now doesn't convince you, Josh Allen is, and he's in a different stratosphere now. He is no longer just a football player. He is becoming a superstar. He's becoming an icon in respects to a sports figure. You know, he's not as big as Tiger Woods or any of those guys or anything like that, but those guys transcend the sports. Yes, Tiger Woods played golf, but you know him for the game. You know him for the hat. You know him for the red shirt on Sunday. You know him for so many different things. The same thing with Michael Jordan. You know him. A lot of kids don't even know how good Michael Jordan was. They just know the shoes and they know the Jumpman logo. Josh Allen, man, like he jumps over guys and he throws over safeties and he stiff arms linebackers and he jumps over guys, and like he's becoming a bona fide superstar, man, right here in Western New York. Josh Allen is a big deal now. TT, like he's no small beans anymore, man. Like he's a big deal.
It's awesome, Rob. It's awesome. I mean, that general descent of ascent, excuse me, not descent. The general ascent of just becoming a superstar, you know, and now it's like, all right, he's checking the boxes. He's checking the boxes. He, you know, he's a freak on the field. Now he might be in the Hollywood dating scene. Now he's on the cover of Madden.
Right.
So now we're gonna start getting to some real checks, Rob. You know, where the MVPs, the Super Bowls, and those are, you know, what real superstars do and the real checks do, and not everyone on the cover of Madden by any means lives up to that, but this isn't just some Peyton Hillis randomly in the middle of the 2000s on Peyton or on Madden. This isn't some random player that had a good year the previous year that they put on. This is they think is going to be a superstar in the league, and you know, and we'll be. Mahomes has got his, Brady's got his, and all the greats get theirs, and this is just a step for him to do. I'm pumped. It's going to be awesome. You know, put it in the display case right with the Josh Jacks and you know, right next to the Josh Jacks, you got your old case. I don't know. Do they now it's all digital, but I still think you can go get the cases. I'm definitely
yes, man. So, I mean, you can go to still buy the physical hard copy.
Even if I just go into one of those GameStops and get it, you know, digital on the Xbox and just take the plastic out of the one at GameStop. So
oh my goodness.
But I can't wait to have that. You know, this is gonna be something you're gonna have the rest of your life, and your kids are gonna look and say, oh yeah, that's 24. Josh was on the cover, and that year they won the Super Bowl. You know,
man. I already know
it's just something it's a historic thing that like we can make our stamp on. You know, the stadium will be at the first one. Josh Allen was on Madden and in the prime of his career, and we had a podcast and we're talking about it. Like it's not to get too emotional, Rob. Yeah, it's freaking awesome, man.
I love it. You know, because it's funny because like you kind of hit on some, you know, on all the points, man, right there on all the notes, just because like I've played the game so long, and like it's a big deal. Like my middle king is going crazy, you know, like I sent him a picture and like he's going nuts. Like Josh is going to be on, like he can't wait for the game to come out. I'm definitely going, like you said, GameStop or Target, somewhere to get the physical hard copy, because I just want to frame the actual copy of the game. You know, you could take the disc out and then go ahead and just frame that copy. I want it. It's history, man. You know, Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas was an MVP of the league, never on the game. You know, I mean, obviously times have changed now, but you know, it's just crazy how times have changed, and he really has arrived. There's no stopping the fact or denying the fact that he really is one of the stars in the league. I know Mahomes has the Super Bowls right now. We're looking to get to that level. You know, Lamar Jackson has an MVP. He was on the cover. You know, obviously Josh would love to have an MVP as well. But the main thing is the Super Bowl. That's the only thing that differentiates him between him and Patrick Mahomes at this point, in my opinion. You know, and obviously Joe Burrow's been there as well.
They're in the stardom tower. They're hand in hand. You know, as many people know about Josh Allen as Patrick Mahomes. Like Josh Allen's the top selling jersey out there. You know, so it's a people. He's addicted, man. He's addicted.
That's your word for Josh. Yeah, he is addicting for sure, and I really can't wait to get a chance to get my hands on that game. I kind of got. You know, speaking of emotional, I kind of got emotional watching that video because I just remember, like, Madden was a big deal. The college football game, me and Ace DT, we used to take over the MAC conference in NCAA football. You could create your own teams. We would make teams from Section 6, like we'd make Williamsville East, South, North. We'd put Gronk on North. I mean, like all this crazy stuff. Our friends, we put all of our friends on the teams. We'd create Sweet Home. We'd create a few other teams as well. And then we would go and take over the MAC, and we would be, you know, Star Point, and we would go in the MAC, and would just be fun just because of the fact that you could do all the names and the player names. So like the NCAA franchise was a big deal as well, because once those guys graduated, there was a way to import them into Madden, and like it was a way to integrate. We just thought that was the coolest. Like, oh my God, my dude graduated, and he's a 3-time All-American, and now he's on, you know, the Denver Broncos or whoever he was drafted by. So it was really cool, kind of the progression, because we would take it seriously because we were kids, and like there was not much else we could do when we were playing inside other than take that type of stuff seriously, and we definitely did. I love the Madden franchise, and I can't wait for it to be a part of Bills history, man. That is some people think that it's no big deal, but I'm like, man, this is the biggest game. This is a sports game in the world. Outside
everyone
of like FIFA.
Madden.
Like this is like
exactly. Yeah, everyone knows Madden, and they always juice up the cover athlete too. They always give them a little extra, you know, a little extra speed, a little extra throw power, you know. So it'll be fun to play with as well.
Yeah, man, it will be fun to play with. It's funny. Because, you know, just watching all of the hype around it, it was kind of some speculation beforehand, you know, if he was going to be on it or if he wasn't going to be on it, whatever the case may be. So I'm really happy for him to get this culmination. So DT, man, we've got, I mean, it's interesting. Brandon Beane made a couple comments, you know, at camp yesterday, and he was talking about, you know, different guys. He talked about the Ed Oliver contract. He talked about some other things as well. He had some funny comments about Kyer Elam and some practice habits. And then he was asked about our guy, Stephon Diggs, who obviously we dedicated an entire episode to. He had an interesting response to it. He said that he expects everybody to be here. They kind of broke that down on WGR today, kind of saying, well, if it was yes and he knew he was going to be here, then he would just say yes. Maybe he doesn't really know, whatever the case may be. Again, I'm just warning everybody. I do not think that Stephon Diggs is going to give his money back, number one. So he will be at mandatory minicamp next week. That is just my prediction. I don't know. I heard somebody said that they know that he's in town or something like that. Listen, he's not giving back money to the Bills. He's not giving back free money is what I would, that's the way I would be leaning, is that he's not going to give back, you know, money to the Bills. So he's not going to be fined. He will be there. And once again, I do not expect him to address anything. There is no beef with Josh Allen or anything like that. He wants to win. And I think that I'm pretty sure we will finally be able to put this to bed like a military bed. You got to tuck in the sides, TT. You got to make sure your pillow and everything, all the side sheets are tucked in tight. I think we will be able to wrap this up tight next week once mandatory minicamp starts. But I know that the WGR kind of batted it around like a cat with yarn today, talking about, wait, what did Brandon Beane mean? He's coming, or is he not coming? Or he would have just said yes if he knew he was coming. And I was just listening to the radio, just like, why don't y'all listen to Nickel City Crew? Why don't y'all listen to the Miseducation of Stephon Diggs? Y'all need to listen to episode 6, man, from last week. I mean, DT, what else what else, man? We did a whole episode, man. What else can I say?
A new divisional foe, Aaron Rodgers, you know, RELAX, relax, right? This is, this is what people, and hopefully next week when he's here, and that puts it to bed, because yeah, we're sick of hearing about it, and then it'll give, I get, the media they're defending themselves, saying, well, we have to report on this is our job, okay, well, when he comes in and squashes it, then it's not your job anymore. Shut the hell up. We're ready to roll. It's time to win a ring. So yeah, I hope he's there, because if he's not, then we got to hear it. We got to hear about it.
Yeah, we got a whole episode.
Hear about it even more. Yeah, but
yeah.
no, we'll be fine. He'll be there. He's got to start getting reps in, and with the Madden cover athlete, so he'll be ready to roll.
yeah, absolutely. I think that he'll be at camp next week, and I don't expect again much news to come out of it other than he'll report to work. He's ready to go to work. It's time to get a Super Bowl. Everybody seems to be singular focused on that. We've heard about how Josh Allen, we talked about it last week, is just focused. He keeps reminding you how focused he is, how ready he is to attack this year. So all distractions are out of the way, so to speak, and he's ready to go get it. I think the same thing for Stephon Diggs. I think he's going to be ultra focused, ready to come in and help this team. The wide receiver room has changed a little bit. The running back room has changed a lot. The offensive line has changed some. The tight end room has changed dramatically with the addition of a first-round draft pick. The linebacker room has changed, TT. The defensive tackles have now all rounded into form on one-year deals outside of Ed Oliver. The defensive end room has changed a little bit. Everything is, now we talked about cornerback depth with Dantzler rounding out some of the depth in the everything has changed a little bit, and it seems like it's kind of like shop class, TT, where remember you would rough out the edges on your wood piece, and all you're really doing now is just trying to make sure everything is smooth and you've got the shape, you know what you want, you're making a cutting board for your mom for Mother's Day. You took off the glue from it, and now you're just trying to sand that thing down and just trying to make sure that it's perfect for her for Mother's Day. I really, sometimes I look at the roster, sometimes I look at the way that Brandon Beane operates, and I'm like, he's just sanding now. Like, he's just making sure that listen, Sean, I don't want you to have any, don't put any of this shit on my plate. You know what I mean? I'm giving you everything I can to make sure that you are going to be successful. And I kind of sometimes feel like that's what he's doing. He's sanding, he's rounding out the edges. I like Brandon Beane. I like his conviction. Again, we've talked about that with the draft. Sometimes he's wrong. You've got Cody Fords for every, or Cyrus Torrance. You've got picks that don't all work out. However, he's never been one to be scared. And I there's just a level of respect that I have for that, DT. I don't really know how to explain it other than I respect a man's conviction when he thinks that he knows something. He may be right. He may be wrong. He's okay. I'm going to pay Ed Oliver. But what am I going to do? I'm going to structure it where after year 2, I've got outs. You know what I mean? So you're going to get a little bit of money in the beginning. You're going to be happy. Your agent's happy. Your family's happy. And then I'm going to make sure that I protect my own ass. So that way, if you start to lack, to get a little bit lazy, like, Marcel Darius did, then I can get out of it with minimal cap penalties. I just feel like Brandon Beane is constantly smoothing out the edges of this roster. And it makes me feel comforting because I always feel comforting knowing that he's doing his job. I think he's really good at it. I really do.
Yeah, Nickel City. I don't know who can sit here and say we're not better right now than we were last year.
Yeah,
with this roster. Literally, Trayman Edmonds is the only name of significance that I'm like, I would have liked to have him. And he was 50-50 with the fans too. People want him gone. People want him to stay.
Yeah.
So other than that name, we addressed every other spot. We got
Poyer
better in every other spot.
Yeah.
We got Poyer. We got hot. Injuries are back. We beefed up where we needed to. Offensive, defensive line. Beefed this wide receiver room out. Got some more running help. We literally covered every base. That Trayman Edmonds is the only name that's questionable. Everything else is we got better at. So, barring, and there's going to be injuries, there's going to be things, and there's going to be a lot of big names that don't make this roster, Rob, and that's a good problem to have.
Well, it's interesting because, it's like I said, it's interesting just because of the fact that it just seems like he's in a situation where he's rounding out the edges of the roster. He's making sure that everything is perfect for Sean McDermott. And I just like him, man. I do. I like Brandon Beane. I like him a lot. I like the way that he operates. I like the fact that he has a lot of conviction. And it's time for us to start digging in. I don't know if we'll be taking a break or not, but we've got training camp coming up in a month, so I know we'll take a break before training camp, DT, but it's time. The time is coming closer where it's nothing else to talk about in respects to the Bills other than the men leading and the ones with the clipboards or the ones that are calling the plays. So we are going to start to dissect Ken Dorsey on the offensive side of the ball. We're going to start to dissect Sean McDermott, which we've done ad nauseum on a bigger scale as the head coach of the team. Now he's the DC as well. So we're going to start to get into that. I have heard, if I had a nickel for every time I heard somebody on WGR or somebody on a blog telling me that Sean McDermott is going to be more aggressive. And he is, and this was all just Leslie Frazier. If I hear it one more time, I'll be rich. And I've kept my mouth quiet, and that's fine because truly we don't know, DT, and I don't want to get into another episode tonight, but truly we don't know about it. But I've got my theories. I can't wait to get some of yours. And obviously the offense is, that's the pretty shiny thing that everybody wants to know about. How is the offense going to look? You only get 1 year to say it was your first year. Last year, Ken Dorsey could say, "Hey man, this is my first time with the job, man. Y'all gonna give me a little break? Okay, we're giving you a break." There's just no more breaks. Not when you're the offensive coordinator of a team in the Super Bowl window. I'm sorry, your job is more scrutinized than the Houston Texas OC. Your job is more criticized than, the Indianapolis OC or what. I'm just sorry. It's just more highly scrutinized when the window is open. The window is clearly open. Josh Allen is in his prime. Don't fuck this up. Like that's kind of how I'm looking at Ken, and I've got a few bullet points on him. We're gonna have to start to dig into these coordinators, DT. This summer,
a lot of pressure is it when you're listening out there, Bills Mafia. A lot more pressure because Nickel City Crew's coming. We're getting better every week. We're coming a little harder. We're coming a little more insight. So we're definitely going to be digging in a little more than we used to. We're not just hitting our bullet points and moving on. We're digging in on your all ass. So let's go. You got more eyes on it.
I love it. Well, the Madden game comes out in a couple of months, for sure.
Pre-order now.
Pre-order now. I just put it on Instagram, so check out our Instagram at Nickel City Crew. Again, you can check out Adam Rupsick again, Adam RUPCZYK at Adam Rupsick on Instagram as well. Holla at us, man. Hit him with a Go Bills tonight. I mean, what's up, DT, man?
Go Bills.
Yeah, man. They gave us a little content this week. We didn't have to work to our no heavy lifting in the summer, man. We got a chance to get an easy one, and I like that. As always, these were my Bills thoughts said out loud. Please spread love, not hate. Hit him with one more. Go Bills, DT.
Go Bills.
Dog days of summer, man. Go Bills, man.